It's not color, it's culture.
We have a guy who doesn't believe that there is institutionalized racism. You know, he says, well, I don't believe it's there, but in fact...
And women, black, white, yellow, green, and blue, started talking back, and it was interesting. We were cutting the film.
You're white or whatever you are, I'm black or whatever I am. We're standing here talking now. That's how we get things done. You can't legislate.
Denzel Washington has never been one to back down, and now he's taking on Hollywood in a way that no one expected. In a world where everyone is told what to think, this man dares to speak the truth. But what happens when you challenge the status quo in an industry that thrives on groupthink?
So why did he need a black director? Could a white director not have?
It's not color, it's culture.
The words may be simple, but the impact is undeniable. Denzel Washington's statement, "It's not color, it's culture," has set off a firestorm of debate, with Hollywood scrambling to contain the fallout. But this isn't just about one statement. This is about a man who's had enough of the woke ideology that's been sweeping through Hollywood like wildfire.
God has blessed us with free will. Now it's free will magnified, free will on steroids. You're free to go in any direction.
Why did Denzel Washington feel the need to call out Hollywood so publicly? Could it be that he's finally reached his breaking point? And what does this mean for his future in an industry that's increasingly hostile to those who refuse to toe the line? Hollywood's woke culture isn't just confined to the silver screen. It's everywhere, from talk shows like The View to the very politics that shape the industry. Denzel's refusal to appear on The View speaks volumes about his stance on the woke agenda. But what's even more shocking is his stance on Kamala Harris, the very figurehead of woke politics. Is Denzel Washington now being blackballed by Hollywood for daring to speak his mind?
And in America, we have the freedom to express ourselves.
But Denzel isn't backing down. In fact, he's doubling down. So what exactly is going on?
It's not color, it's culture.
Phrase, "it's not color, it's culture," has become something of a rallying cry for those fed up with the divisive identity politics that have come to dominate Hollywood. But for Denzel Washington, it's more than just a soundbite. It's a philosophy, a way of life that challenges the very foundations of the woke movement. Denzel's critique of Hollywood isn't just about race. It's about the culture that's being cultivated within the industry. A culture that, according to him, prioritizes superficial characteristics over true talent and character. This perspective has put him at odds with an industry that's increasingly obsessed with diversity quotas and virtue signaling, rather than real artistic expression. But what does it mean to be anti-woke in today's Hollywood? For Denzel, it's about rejecting the idea that people should be judged or celebrated based on their race, gender, or Instead, he argues for a focus on culture, on the values, work ethic, and integrity that truly define a person. This isn't the first time Denzel has spoken out against the prevailing narratives in Hollywood. Over the years, he's consistently emphasized the importance of personal responsibility and self-determination, values that are often at odds with the victimhood mentality that's been perpetuated by the woke movement. But it's one thing to criticize the culture. It's another to take a stand against it. And that's exactly what Denzel has done. By refusing to bow to the pressures of Hollywood, he set himself apart as a rare voice of reason in an industry that's become increasingly irrational. Of course, taking a stand comes with consequences, and for Denzel, those consequences could be severe. Hollywood is notorious for punishing those who don't fall in line, and there's already speculation that Denzel's outspoken views could cost him future roles. But for a man who's built his career on principles, the risk is worth it. Denzel Washington's critique of Hollywood isn't just confined to the entertainment industry. Rumor has it that Denzel isn't exactly Kamala Harris's biggest fan. In the past, Denzel Washington wasn't shy about his support for Barack Obama.
I think that he served with dignity, strength, patience, and I think he did
His public endorsement played a significant role in the 2008 and 2012 elections. However, when it comes to Kamala Harris, Denzel has been notably silent. Denzel has frequently spoken out against the media and social media's role in spreading misinformation. Could this be why he's hesitant to endorse Kamala Harris?
If you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you do read it, you're misinformed.
Denzel Washington is a man who exudes integrity and confidence. In 2016, during the promotion of his film Fences, he was asked about the phenomenon of fake news, particularly a story that falsely claimed he switched his election support from Clinton to Trump. Denzel masterfully turned the question back on the reporter, highlighting the media's responsibility in spreading misinformation. Asked what he made of it, he said, "If you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you do read it, you're misinformed." That's a great question. What is the long-term effect of too much information? Denzel continued, "One of the effects is the need to be first, not even to be true anymore. So what a responsibility you all have, to tell the truth, not to just be first, but to tell the truth." He further elaborated, "We live in a society now where it's just first. Who cares? Get it out there. We don't care who it hurts. We don't care who we destroy. We don't care if it's true. Just say it, sell it." Additionally, in 2022, Denzel Washington expressed his views on social media and its harmful effects, particularly on young people. He highlighted the obsession with self-promotion, saying, "The no one photograph today is a selfie. Oh, me at the protest, me with the fire. Follow me, listen to me. The Bible says in the last days, I don't know if it's the last days, it's not my place to know, but it says we'll be lovers of ourselves. We're living in a time where people are willing to do anything to get followed."
Turn it off. That's what I would say. It's hard for young people now because they're hooked. They're addicted.
Washington continued, "This is spiritual warfare, so I'm not looking at it from an earthly perspective. If you don't have a spiritual anchor, you'll be easily blown by the wind, and you'll be led to depression." His words resonate deeply in the context of Kamala Harris's public image, heavily shaped by social media. But why would a Hollywood star like Denzel Washington take such a public stance against a political figure like Kamala Harris? The answer lies in his belief that Hollywood and politics are increasingly intertwined, and that the same forces pushing the woke agenda in Hollywood are also at play in Washington, D.C. for Denzel. The woke agenda isn't just about promoting diversity. It's about controlling the narrative. And anyone who dares to challenge that narrative is seen as a threat. This is why Denzel's comments about Harris have been met with such fierce resistance. But instead of backing down, Denzel is doubling down, making it clear that he won't be silenced by the woke mob. That's why you will probably never see him on a woke show like The View. That would be pure TV gold and not in a good way for the ladies. Denzel, with his no-nonsense demeanor and unfiltered opinions, would be a wrecking ball to their carefully crafted narratives. Picture it, Denzel calmly dismantling their arguments, cutting through their virtue signaling like a pro. The hosts, used to controlling the narrative, would struggle to keep up with his sharp wit and unwavering beliefs. It would be a clash of titans, with Denzel exposing the flaws in their progressive views. For The View, it would spell disaster. The fallout would be massive, audiences questioning their credibility, social media exploding with commentary, and headlines screaming about Denzel's takedown of their agenda. For starters, we have whoopies on how systemic racism is what's causing black kids to turn into violence and having less opportunities than their white counterparts.
A guy who doesn't believe that there is institutionalized racism. You know, he says, well, I don't believe it's there, but in fact it is.
But Denzel Washington has a completely different opinion on this. In 2017, while promoting his film Roman J. Israel, ESQ, the award-winning actor explained that playing the social justice warrior didn't incite any ill feelings towards the criminal justice system. Instead, it reminded him of the importance of family values. "It starts at home," he said at the New York premiere of the film. "It starts with how you raise your children. If a young man doesn't have a father figure, he'll go find a father figure." As activists push for reform in the system, Washington explained how he doesn't give it too much credit. "So you know I can't blame the system," he continued. "It's unfortunate that we make such easy work for them." In a separate interview, Denzel Washington gave some straight talk about race relations in America, focusing on how people interact rather than what laws say. He pointed out that laws can't force people to like each other.
Race relationships have to do with race relationships. You're white or whatever you are, I'm black or whatever I am. We're standing here talking now. That's how we get things done. You can't legislate.
He highlighted that the key to improving relations isn't something a president can dictate. It's about everyday conversations and understanding between individuals. Regarding movements like Black Lives Matter, Denzel emphasized the importance of free speech and the right to protest, regardless of whether everyone agrees with the cause.
And in America, we have the freedom to express ourselves. We shouldn't take that for granted. So whatever the movements are, whether you agree with them or don't, they have the right to
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I will not make that decision for anybody. I don't ever think that I can make any decision for you and your family.
Additionally, when it comes to promoting Hollywood projects, Denzel believes that diversity should not be mentioned. In 2022, he told NBC BLK at a roundtable with other media outlets, "Obviously, we are diverse, so I think that's a great thing." The actor then added, "You know, in my humble opinion, we ought to be at a place where diversity shouldn't even be mentioned like it's something special." He explained, "These young kids, black, white, blue, green, or whatever, are highly talented and qualified, so that's why they're there." While Washington believes diversity shouldn't even be mentioned like it's something special, he does believe in putting God first in everything he does. Meanwhile, Whoopi Goldberg, who claims to have an understanding of Christianity and the Bible, has made some pretty controversial claims and references to the religion.
Like your generation, seriously. Come on. And these pronouns. What the fuck is with the pronouns? He, she, him, they, the, boom, bang.
In any case, Denzel Washington is not the only A-list actor who is speaking out against woke Hollywood. You see, Sylvester Stallone has also made it crystal clear that he's fed up with all the woke madness, especially when it comes to his latest projects. And let me tell you, his comments are pure gold. In a recent interview, Stallone laid it all out. He insisted there'd be no woke nonsense on his movie set. Can you believe that? It's like a fresh breeze cutting through the haze of political correctness. He famously said, "I won't have a bunch of granola moms and their soy boy husbands telling me what I can and can't do on my set with my crew." But Stallone's annoyance with the woke agenda goes way beyond just movie sets. He's also taken a stand against the whole pronoun craze sweeping across Hollywood. In a must-see clip from his new show, Tulsa King, Stallone's character delivers a line that perfectly captures his frustration.
Magic mirror on the wall.
This sentiment echoes a growing frustration among many in Hollywood and beyond. Critics argue that the pressure to conform to a specific narrative stifles creativity and alienates audiences who simply want to enjoy a good movie. But Stallone isn't just blowing smoke. Recent controversies have fueled the fire of debate around woke Hollywood. Take, for instance, the backlash against Disney's casting choices and the portrayal of classic characters.
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
The live-action remake of Snow White, slated for release on March 21st, 2025, has become a focal point of the debate surrounding woke culture in Hollywood. The casting of Rachel Zegler, a Latina actress, as Snow White has drawn both praise and criticism. While some see it as a progressive move toward inclusivity, others have expressed concern over straying from the character's original depiction. When the news broke in 2021, Zegler's casting led to a string of racist comments on social media, questioning why an actress of Latin descent would portray a character described as having skin white as snow. Zegler responded on X by stating, "I really truly do not want to see it. I hope every child knows they can be a princess no matter what." The film's creators have emphasized a modern edge in the story, eliminating the traditional narrative of Snow White being saved by a prince. Zegler explained, "She's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true." Gal Gadot, who plays the evil queen, noted, "She's the proactive one. She's the one who sets the terms. It's these factors that make it so relevant to today." This modern reinterpretation has sparked a backlash from those who believe it diverges too far from the classic fairy tale's essence. Critics argue that such changes risk turning beloved stories into platforms for social commentary rather than preserving their timeless charm. In response, Disney stated it was taking a different approach to avoid reinforcing stereotypes, consulting with members of the dwarfism community to ensure a sensitive portrayal. And it's not just Disney under fire. The recent Paris Olympics faced criticism for prioritizing political statements over athletic excellence. With some labeling it the woke Olympics, the event faced calls for boycotts and public backlash. Here's what's happening.
Hey guys, I'm gonna be real. What they did at the Olympics, they all need to get canceled. You guys think this is a joke? It ain't a joke.
2 female boxers who were disqualified from last year's World Championships for being biological men are now allowed to compete in the Olympics. Yes, these athletes with XY chromosomes will be boxing against women, and it's raising eyebrows everywhere. Many people are questioning the logic behind this decision and wondering if common sense has taken a back seat. But here's the twist. These boxers don't even identify as transgender. According to a report by Outkick, the International Boxing Association's president conducted DNA tests and found athletes trying to compete as women. It turns out that these individuals have a condition known as a difference in DSD, meaning they have both male and female genitalia. With the rules appearing to change, it seems like anyone can decide to compete in a different category without the usual requirements. In addition, the Olympics are shielding athletes from uncomfortable questions by updating their media guidelines. They've banned terms like biologically male, biologically female, and born male to avoid offending anyone. This decision has sparked a heated debate. Supporters argue it's a win for inclusivity, while critics claim it undermines the essence of sports and ignores biological realities. Another person who has been quite outspoken about the Olympics is Joe Rogan. From the inclusion of transgender boxers to accusations of desecrating and disrespecting Christianity, these Olympics have stirred up plenty of drama.
Suggestion of the LGBT community. Are you intentionally trying to create enemies? Or is this just haphazardly showing up in your agenda?
And not everyone is on board with the hype. Joe Rogan, host of the massively popular podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, is definitely not a fan. Even with some of the world's top athletes going head-to-head, Rogan didn't hold back, slamming the games and calling them a giant scam. The Olympics is a giant scam, Rogan claimed. There's 2 things going on simultaneously. Okay, you have the best athletes in the world participating in their disciplines. That's happening. And then on top of that, you have enormous amounts of money being made, and none of it is going to the athletes. It is a giant scam. Rogan continued, revealing that the extraordinary competitors at the Olympic Games aren't benefiting nearly enough for the amount they bring in. Joe Rogan didn't mince words when he took aim at the 2024 Paris Olympics, criticizing the people behind the event. He pointed out how the opening ceremony, with its mix of drag queens and a reimagining of the Last Supper, was baffling to most people. According to Rogan, it wasn't about the athletes or the true spirit of the Olympics. Instead, it was driven by those in charge of producing the games.
Athletes. It's not made by the Olympics. It's made by the people that are in charge of putting the Olympics out. So they're the ones who are reaping all the money and sucking all the cash.
Rogan also took issue with how the money flows, making it clear that the ones running the show are the ones profiting, not the athletes who make the games what they are. He called out the organizers for raking in billions in television and advertising revenue while giving little to the athletes.
They do that, but then they'll go to places like Brazil. And so if it's going to be in Brazil, they build this fucking enormous place for it to participate in, all the different arenas where different people do their thing.
He didn't hold back in calling out the system, suggesting that the Olympics are essentially robbing the athletes who compete. Rogan's comments have certainly stirred the pot, adding more controversy to an already contentious event. Joe Rogan didn't hold back his frustration, questioning why anyone would tune in to watch a bunch of trans performers pretending to be Jesus and the disciples during the Olympics. He argued that viewers aren't interested in that. They're tuning in to see the real competition, the 100-meter dash, the sprints, the boxing matches. That's what people care about, he emphasized.
Tuning in to see who's going to win the 100-meter dash.
Yeah.
Who's going to win this? Who's going to win that? Who's going to win the sprints? Who's going to win whatever the fucking event is? Who's going to win boxing? That's what people are tuning in. And
Rogan also expressed his disappointment at how the athletes, who have dedicated their entire lives to competing in the Olympics, aren't getting their fair share. He pointed out how crazy it is that they don't see a dime from the massive revenue generated by the games.
That have dedicated their entire lives to wrestle in the Olympic Games. Then scratch of that.
That's so crazy.
It's nuts.
Oh, man.
It is a common belief now that athletes don't get any cash directly from the International Olympic Committee for competing or winning medals. The Olympics originally celebrated pure athleticism, and revenue is instead funneled to international federations and national Olympic committees. However, some governing bodies have started paying athletes who win gold. For example, World Athletics is making waves by offering prize money at the Paris 2024 Games, with an approximately $2.4 million prize pot and gold medalists set to receive approximately $50,400. This prize structure is set to continue at the Los Angeles Games in 2028. Joe, though, believes the Olympics had noble beginnings but is now hampered by television networks. He argues that these networks are largely responsible for the stagnation in athlete pay, shifting the blame away from the original ideals of the Games.
Pure chaos. Well, at one point in time, there was probably no money in the Olympics because there was no television, right?
Okay, yeah.
So at one point in time, the Olympics was just about the best athletes in the world competing against the other best athletes in the world. It was for...
Well, it seems like his claims are quite concerning because Olympics are being accused of woke. The Olympics are supposed to be all about the awe-inspiring feats of athletes from around the world, the triumphs, the sportsmanship, the emotional backstories, and the proud parents cheering in the stands. It's a celebration of dreams, hard work, and human spirit. So it's pretty disheartening that this year's games are getting caught up in debates about wokeism instead of focusing on what unites us all. People are more fired up about clickbait stories and controversies than about the humanity and inspiration that the Olympics are meant to represent. In any case, just like all these other celebrities, Denzel Washington's outspoken views have made him a target in Hollywood, where there's already speculation that he could be blackballed for refusing to toe the line. Hollywood has a long history of punishing those who don't conform, and Denzel's anti-woke stance puts him squarely in the crosshairs. But what does it mean to be blackballed in Hollywood? For many, it means losing out on roles, being excluded from industry events, and seeing their careers slowly fade away. For someone like Denzel Washington, who's built a career on talent and integrity, the idea of being blackballed is particularly painful. But despite the risks, Denzel remains undeterred. He's made it clear that he won't compromise his principles for the sake of his career, and he's willing to accept the consequences of his actions. This resolve has earned him the respect of many, but it's also made him a target for those who see him as a threat to the status quo. The question now is whether Hollywood will really follow through on its threats to blackball Denzel Washington, or whether his star power is simply too strong to be extinguished. Either way, Denzel has made it clear that he's not backing down. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye!